Now, Chumley, we need to play intense defense in this game and stuff the run. That means I need you to put your big fat body in between you and those ball carriers. You think you can do that for me?
Okay, Tennessee.
Well, it was a tale of 2 days for Indiana Sports Connection here. The Hoosiers, I couldn't have went to bed on Saturday night more delighted, in a more delighted mood that the Hoosiers went out to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl and absolutely dominated. And then Sunday happened. We're going to talk about the Colts in this episode. What the hell is going on with the Colts? I mean, there is no answers. And we're going to talk about all the people that are to blame. And we're going to get into some really nasty stuff in this episode. So let's get it going. I stopped taking notes during the game. This game was just an absolute fucking train wreck from the very beginning. And that's right. I use the F word. So if you want to tune it off, you want to tune out reality and what is really happening with this team, then tune it off right now. But what is going on with this team? It is unbelievable. Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen calls like the worst game I have ever seen him call. Chris Ballard, you sit there all through the offseason and don't bring anybody in at safety or corner or anybody. I mean, we got Joe Flacco and Raekwon Davis in the offseason. You know what he's done? We don't have continuity on this team. You know what we have? Complacency. You bring back all the same guys doing all the same shit and they think, oh, my job's secure here. We have 8 fucking captains on this team. 8! Bring it up, hillbilly monkey. Bring it up. 8 captains. Holy shit. Oh, half of these guys should not be captains. Okay, and now I'm going to start getting real nasty with some players. Zaire Franklin, you suck the big donkey dick, all right? You got a podcast. You know what? Stop doing the fucking podcast. You and EJ Speed haven't tackled anybody that weren't like freaking 20 yards downfield. I saw you make 1 tackle in the game last week and you like shouldered a guy after he made a 12-yard run and then, you're dancing like this? Go fuck yourself. Turn the podcast off. If I was the coach, I would be in there ripping you a new fucking asshole. Look, I know I've been in TV and media and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time out of your week to make even one podcast. And you're thinking about it all the time. It takes a ton of time. I'll tell you, I was listening to an interview with Peyton Manning, and this is what I was thinking during the game. He's like, what they asked him, what is one of the most annoying things you found about players? He's like, players that would be talking about, like, you play left guard and you're talking about a business you're going to run afterwards. And they say, you know, you're talking about opening this pizza business and you really can't even block anybody. Why don't you get good at one job before you move on and start doing other jobs? How about that? You know, that's just something I was thinking during the game. It's like, holy shit, who are these guys? We got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. And we got 8 captains on this team. Quentin Nelson, Anthony Richardson should not be a captain. You shouldn't be a captain of somebody in the NFL when you have no fucking clue how to play in the NFL, right? I mean, that's just the bottom line. Jonathan Taylor, I don't think you should be a captain either, although he was the only person who performed at any type of level during this game. I mean, he's the only guy that showed up. But I think Jonathan Taylor, you know, he went on the holdout because he saw his leverage and he saw he was on a weak-ass team and he saw that they would roll over and give him the money because we got nobody. We have no talent on this team. Our highest performers, like Kenny Moore and Quentin Nelson, are probably our best two players. Kenny Moore can't tackle anybody. What the hell are they doing out there? Nick Cross made like the first 10 tackles of the game. This guy is like I don't even know what, he's a 5th round pick or something like that. Nick Cross, he made the team this year. It's not good. And then Buckner goes down. What's the deal with the run game? With the run? I mean, and let me really just go back and preface a bunch of this. Why it's so maddening. You're playing Malik Willis. He 2 weeks ago was cut by the Titans, the shitty Titans. He couldn't even be a second string or a third string on the shitty Titans. And he comes out and just whoops your ass. They just come out with a game plan to run the ball all over you and do a couple of play actions. I think he only had like 2 or 3 incompletions. I mean, a guy that got cut by the stinky Titans. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's clear in Shane Steichen, that this was his worst game that he called. The creativity from this offense, it is all but seems like it's gone. I mean, does anybody else see that? Where are the plays? It's because we have this quarterback who's so limited in his abilities out there. It's affecting everything. Last year, we had a guy who couldn't throw the ball deep, and he couldn't really run or do anything, but he was really good at the intermediate passing game. Where's Michael Pittman? I mean, he's been like non-existent in these first games. Oh my God, I gotta just let it go. But it's like, this game had me so pissed off watching, and it was not even close. Look, I'm gonna play this clip from Bring the Juice. I totally don't agree with this. Play the clip, Hillbilly Monkey.
This team, is just a couple more executed plays away from being 2-0. I mean, it really is. Like, it's a matter of a couple plays. Yeah. Now, this game, it just felt like the Packers really took it to the Colts. But, think about it, Derek. If the Colts convert one...
Yeah, if you were watching that Houston game and you thought that we were close to beating them, you have no fucking clue about football. I mean, they were running the clock out on us. We could not stop them. That's all they were doing. We were not even close. In this Green Bay game, they were doing the exact same thing. We could not stop them. So they were just running the clock out on us. We weren't even close. I mean, and look, you can't go out there and go, oh, well, since Anthony Richardson threw, they had these drops, so if they would have caught these. No, he is so inaccurate. He can't even throw an outlet pass. He throws, and I'm going to tell you what his problem is. Right here. It's like every time, whenever he's throwing right, like this, he really 3/4 arms it. And when you 3/4 arm it like how he's doing it, it's like he gets his whole hand is almost underneath the ball. So it's no wonder it's coming out of it's very simple. You got to get your hand more on top of the ball when you're throwing the ball out to the flat. I saw him doing this shit in training camp when nobody was even around. I saw him doing this shit in training camp, and I thought, that's kind of alarming. It's kind of alarming that he can't throw a ball out to the sideline without throwing it over his head. I mean, if you're watching a guy play catch and he's throwing like, man, this is so concerning. And the people that are, I know people are saying, oh, he needs time to develop. He needs time. Look, dude, Justin Herbert showed up. Different guys have shown up day one, and people just knew this guy was going to be an NFL player. Everybody's comparing it to Josh Allen. I will just say to you, go look at the stats. Go look at all of it, and it doesn't add up. He had a lot more experience, and it's not even comparable to the Lamar Jackson situation. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He had like a ample pedigree coming out. I mean, people just doubted him because he was so skinny, and he was like such a runner in college. But you're talking, Lamar Jackson is one of the greatest college football players of all time. Of all time. I mean, he just is. So, you know what? I don't really want to talk about this anymore. Let's lay this game to rest. It was a fucking shit show from the moment they hiked the ball. I mean, all those rushing yards. And you're just sitting there like, holy Lord, if this looks this bad against a team like this that's missing their quarterback, then this is going to be a long, long year. All right. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. I lost my voice yesterday. I was at the mattress store selling mattresses, and luckily nobody came in because I was just screaming at the TV. But the Hoosiers got it done. And man, you just cannot say enough about Curt Cignetti and his swagger. And you know, he talks the talk and he walked the walk, and they went out there and they played a fast, physical game. Surratt, whatever his name is, and Cooper. I love watching some of these wide receivers on IU. And then Rourke. I mean, this guy really showed up, and he just delivered the ball countless time after time after time in the short passing game, on the money, kept the team on schedule. I mean, the only thing in the game were, some of the calls went against Indiana, and that's going to happen when you got a coach like Cignetti who's really coaching them up to be physical. But some of these targeting calls are just absolute garbage. I mean, it's just hot garbage. I thought the one late in the game, and I know it looked really bad, and you know what? Maybe it is targeting. I'm just a homer. But it's like, I just thought he did a great job to get there and get his shoulder into the guy and dislodge the ball. It was a perfect defensive play, in my opinion. It just was. There are sometimes you see a guy out there make a perfect defensive play. And what about the sack, too? The roughing the passer was awful on that sack. I mean, the guy had his face mask right into the belly, bear hugs him. I mean, didn't really drive him into the ground. I didn't really see that. I just thought he fell on top of him because he made just a perfect sack on that. Boy, the Hoosiers get it done. They play Charlotte next week. I mean, they have a situation here now where they could, run off some games. I think they got Charlotte, Maryland, and Purdue got absolutely shellacked by Notre Dame. That was evident that Notre Dame was getting their ass reamed out all week because they came out and just shellacked Purdue like they weren't even there. So, but, the stuff with the Colts, I let it really, really get under my skin. And I'm going to tell you, this channel, I've watched so many videos where people are hyping up the Colts for this year. And I'm just going to tell you, I didn't feel it at all. I did not feel any of the excitement for the Colts coming into this year. I thought you re-signed a bunch of guys, like making your team less competitive. Let's bring in some new blood into this thing. Oh, and the last thing I got to say, A.D. Mitchell. Like, you cannot just think that there's like a no-fly zone because you're going to get hit by somebody. This is the NFL. You're getting paid millions of dollars. And if you want to be a wide receiver, that's the name of the game. You got to go up and go after those balls and take the contact. All there is to it. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with everything, it's just like, who knows what's going to happen with the Colts? This could be a season where they only win a couple of games, it looks like. So, and there's not a lot of good quarterbacks in the next draft either. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to be looking at more and more as this season goes on. But it is getting harder and harder and harder to just watch these Colts games. And when you don't see the effort by management and you don't see the effort by the GM and the owner to put some better talent out there on the field, they've had some opportunities to go get Gilmore. Actually, I was at the Combine. Terry and Arnold, I thought was a player that we should have got at cornerback as our first pick. I like Liatu, but I feel like we needed to shore up that secondary because that was the whole reason why we struggled last year. And now we see by making some wrong moves, this team just looks like one that is going to really, really have a lot of trouble. It might just be broken up completely. I mean, it might be where Ballard gets fired, Steichen gets fired, and then they just completely go in a different direction altogether. And boy, that would really change everything because you'd bring in a coach that might not want to coach up Anthony Richardson. And that's kind of the reason why you got him there. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. There is a lot of turmoil, from Colts fans out there, and I was hearing it from everybody yesterday, and I wanted this episode to be authentic, to what do you realistically think? Yes, Anthony Richardson's going to keep playing. They're not going to put Flacco out there, and I don't think they should put him out there. You got to have him out there so you can see if he's actually learning on the job or if he just can't get it done. The interception I watched like 8 different times. When Richardson gets under pressure like that, and I will tell you, he really starts moving his back leg. He starts shuffling his feet all around. When he threw that interception, he really had his feet were pointing like this way, and he held the ball here, and it's just going to flutter on you when your feet and everything's not lined up. I played a shitload of baseball in my life, and I will tell you, accuracy and body control you gain from playing shortstop and diving for balls and getting your feet under you real quick and making that throw, that goes a long way. That's why guys like Russell Wilson or different guys like Mahomes, it's just like so evident that they played a lot of baseball, because that's what you get. You get really accurate and you get really quick at doing the footwork when you play a lot of baseball. And every position in baseball has like a lot different footwork involved in it. First, I want to make that comparison. That would be maybe a type of training that Anthony Richardson could do. I don't know how they would do that would help him with his footwork, because I notice his feet and his body are all over the place. And he's got such a strong arm. When he tries to throw those outlet passes, he almost looks like he's trying to throw them like a dart, like he's got like his hand too far in front of his body and he's like not using. He's got to learn. And look, this relates to golf too. He's got to learn that it's like when you are 50 yards from the green, you use the exact same. You take a 56-degree wedge. It's like even if you're hitting a 50-yard shot, you're using the exact same mechanics through the shot that you're going to use on a 300-yard shot or a 200-yard iron shot, not a driver shot, but you see what I mean? The mechanics got to be there through and through. That's what sports are built off of. They're built off of the fundamentals, breaking things down to their smallest parts so you can teach somebody fundamentally how it's supposed to be done. Now, can they do that with Anthony Richardson? There's a lot more to go off of than just he's young and he's going to develop. There has to be an acumen there. Now, I've listened to Kent Sterling, and he says this.
Here's the thing that I really like about Richardson. Richardson answers challenges. Richardson is built to process and answer challenges. And, let's face it, he's just flat built. But I like Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. He is a process-based thing. That is a good thing. That he gets the process and he wants to work and he wants to, put himself out there to be a hard worker. And there's got to be a little bit more to it. You got to see the nuance in the parts of the game where you got to be really, really accurate with the ball. Being accurate with the ball, throwing the ball out into the flat is very important. Just ask Tom Brady. I mean, Manning was never as good as Tom Brady was, or Phillip Rivers was really great at that too. Throwing the ball out into the flat and putting like a really nice touch on it so the running back can get it and run with it. And that goes across the board. I know there were some drops. I know there were some bad plays. And you can't blame those on Anthony, but there is a lot more to it here that I hope he could figure out. If he could figure this out during the season, all will be fine. But if he can't, then it's becoming evident that more and more as I watch him, that he just has to shore up his short passing game and accuracy issues. It seems like he's doing a much better job of not taking big hits. Although one run, I thought it looked like he tweaked his hamstring a little bit or pulled his hamstring or something. We'll see how that goes. I mean, as being a young player, he's not going to try to reveal any injuries because he's probably really starting to feel the type of heat that, playing on an NFL team, being the starting quarterback is not the same as being, at Florida or where, I mean, this is the real deal. and you're making a lot of money. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. And until next time, stay classy out there, Colts and Hoosier fans.